And also, in the time that the Quran was written, one of the features that made the Quran so superior, the time that the Quran was written down, there was no law, like law that is so strong, laws that are so very powerful, protecting, the civil rights, the criminal law, criminal justice, family laws, and military laws and stuff like that. It was not there at the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We don't have personal injury laws. We don't have real estate laws. We don't have tax laws and stuff like that. All this thing was not in place when the Quran was revealed. But yet again, we have that in details enshrined in the Quran. And you can't tell me Muhammad read from somewhere, because he's not a learned. He never read or write. No one. The enemies were waiting for Muhammad to see that, okay, somebody is teaching him. They would have a reason to doubt him. Or the enemies was, okay, well, he's a lettered person. We know him already that he read and write. No, Muhammad is a double orphan. Before he was born, his father passed away before he was born. And when he was born, within 6 to 7 years, his mom passed away. So he didn't have that luxury to be educated as in, the people of merit at the time that he existed in Mecca. So he lived with his grandfather and then eventually with his uncle and on and on and on. So Muhammad didn't have all these luxuries. So you can say he read from somewhere, and education of these laws were not in the Arabian Peninsula at that time. Yet we have in the Quran the laws that Allah have given us covering all this, aspect of science that I've just mentioned. It is so in-depth and it is in use today that gives you a reason to believe that the Quran could not have been from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Again, the Quran must know every event in history. Things that happen in history, the Quran have to have knowledge of it. That again is not a proof, it's a proof that the Quran could not have been written by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And nobody ever seen someone teaching Muhammad something. And what they say is Waraq bin Nawfal. Waraq bin Nawfal, they say he's an uncle of Khadija, the Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he told Muhammad. But after three years after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam started to receive the information from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which comprised to be the Quran, Waraq bin Nawfal passed away. So for the next 7 years, Muhammad lived in Mecca. Who was giving him the information? Is it Waraq bin Nawfal, or how did he get it? And so this is something that is perplexing the mind of intellectuals, knowing clearly that Muhammad could not have come about with this information. And so when you reason, don't just hate. When you reason, you apply logic and you apply common sense and remove the emotion in you and come to conclusion that I'm going to go into research. Once you go researching the Quran, what is right or wrong, eventually you might end up being a Muslim. And this has been happening for quite a long time. Back in the days, as Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even in the Middle Ages, in the middle centuries after Muhammad left the earth, people have tried their very best to discredit the Quran. But eventually they themselves have given themselves up by accepting the Quran. There was a time, at the time Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was a man, I forgot his name. He's so very good in prose and poems, and he writes so many apologies about the ancient Arabs at that time. And he made his money out of that. He was so very famous. The Arabs at that time gave him that opportunity to go and write a book, something similar to the Quran. And it took him quite a long time. Anytime he started writing, he threw it away. He started writing, throw it away. Eventually, he came to understand that Muhammad could not have written whatever he was being accused of writing the Quran. So he was asked, how then could Muhammad have wrote this? So, well, if you said it is the bad spirit that taught him all this thing, well, why is it that in the Quran there is a version of that bad spirit? The bad spirit could not teach Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam up to the extent of saying that Shaitan is one of the enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu idkhulu fi silmi kafatan wa la tattabi'ul khudwati ash-shaytan innahu lakum aduwwun mubin. Or you who believe, enter into Islam wholeheartedly, and do not leave your legs one in and one out, because that would be the handiwork of Shaitan. So how could Shaitan, who taught Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is telling the listeners to not to listen to what Shaitan is saying? Clearly, this one, no matter how you look at it, it shows you that Muhammad could not have written the Quran sallallahu alaihi wasallam.